Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful psychological map for your creative journey. It's based on this ancient I Ching hexagram called Qian, and it basically outlines a path of pure, unrelenting creative will. So where does it all start? Well, it kicks off with this incredibly powerful idea. The moment you decide to stop outsourcing your destiny. This is about taking 100% responsibility for where your life is going. No more blaming anyone or anything else. And that right there, that's the core question we're diving into. See, committing to your own path isn't just about what you do on the outside. It sets off this whole chain reaction of intense, predictable, and totally transformative changes on the inside. Now, it's really important to get this straight. We're not talking about mysticism or fortune-telling here. Think of this as a super practical psychological model, a structural map of your own mind. And on this map, the dragon is just a symbol for your pure, vital, creative energy. All right, let's dive right in. We're going to start with the first two stages of this whole journey. This is the part where all that hidden internal potential you've got finally starts to poke its head out and become visible to the rest of the world. So the journey kicks off right here, in a phase of just immense potential energy. But here's the thing. It's not about just sitting around doing nothing. It's about a kind of strategic, high-pressure stillness. You know you have the power, but you also have the wisdom to see that now is not the right time to use it. So what's going on in your head at this point? Well, psychologically, you've got this huge gap between how you see yourself, as powerful and capable, and the fact that you're getting zero feedback from the world. And this forces a choice, right? Do you become the drawn bowstring, holding all that tension with purpose? Or do you slide into the shadow, becoming the victim, and just decide the world is unfair? How you handle this pressure is absolutely crucial. The source actually suggests this practice called the fast of silence. So instead of jumping in to prove how smart you are, you just choose silence. You actually let yourself feel that pressure, that urge for validation, and you consciously turn it inward, using it as fuel to get better at your craft. And all that pent-up energy, that refined skill, it builds directly into stage 2. You've finally broken through the surface, and your talent is actually being recognized. But, of course, this new visibility brings its own set of problems, like a massive dose of imposter syndrome. So now you're the apprentice in the arena. You've got the raw talent, for sure, but your craft? It's still being hammered out, and the source is super clear on this. At this stage, you absolutely need to find a great person, a mentor, someone who can help you see yourself clearly. The big danger, the shadow you can fall into, is becoming a people pleaser, just changing who you are to keep that spotlight on you, and losing your own voice in the process. Okay, brace yourselves. We're now entering what the source calls the most intense and painful stage of the entire journey. This is the crucible. This is where simple excellence gets forged under unbelievable pressure into a core part of who you are. They call this the Sisyphus stage, and for good reason. It's defined by just pure, relentless, almost robotic willpower. Forget about feeling inspired. This is about the grind. It's about showing up and fighting every single day while watching yourself like a hawk. And hey, if you've ever been in a phase like this, you know exactly what this feels like. High-functioning anxiety just completely takes over. Any moment you try to rest, it doesn't feel like recovery, it feels like you're failing the mission, and this wave of guilt just washes over you. And this is the mindset that really grabs you. You start to believe, no one can do it as well as I can. You basically become the eye of the storm. You feel like you have to do everything yourself under all this pressure, because nobody else can possibly meet the standard. So what's really going on under the hood here? It's like a form of psychological alchemy. You're like a blacksmith, just hammering away, turning excellence from something you choose to do into something that's just your default instinct. But the shadow side here is deep. You can so easily become the martyr, the person who starts to romanticize the struggle, who thinks pain equals worth, and who even starts creating new problems just to feel heroic. So, after all that grinding, you've pushed as hard as you possibly can, and bam, you hit a wall. A point where just trying harder, just putting in more effort, it's just not going to cut it anymore. A totally different kind of transformation has to happen. And this brings us to the stark, almost existential choice of stage 4, evolve or be destroyed. Your old way of being is completely tapped out. You can either stay stuck where you are and just stagnate, or you can take this terrifying leap of faith into a total unknown. At this critical moment, you have to become a trapeze artist.
Think about it. To grab that next bar, you have to let go of the one you're holding. You have to trust your gut, make an intuitive leap, because logic and reason just can't get you there anymore. The shadow, of course, is analysis paralysis, getting so stuck on collecting data and avoiding risk that you never ever make the jump.
So you did it. You made the leap. And after that comes success, real influence, a whole new kind of freedom. But with this new altitude, there are new responsibilities and a really, really dangerous shadow lurking. And this brings us to the final two stages, which are really two sides of the same coin. In stage 5, the flying dragon, you're like the conductor. Your vision is reality. Your presence alone shapes the world around you. But it is so easy to slip from there into stage 6, the arrogant dragon. You become Icarus, flying way too close to the sun, thinking I am unstoppable, right before the inevitable crash. So what's the big takeaway here? That true mastery isn't just about getting to the top of the mountain. It's about having the wisdom to stay there, to sustain your flight by mentoring the next generation and circulating that energy back down. And just as important, it's about avoiding the fall by knowing how to make a graceful descent, knowing when to pull back and simplify before the system collapses on you. Okay, for our final point, let's zoom way out for a second and really understand the limits of this whole path. This intense 6-stage journey we've been talking about, it's a war mode. It's powerful, it's necessary for breakthroughs, but it is not a sustainable way to live your life. See, the dragon's path we've walked through is all Qian. That's pure yang energy. It's all about action, pushing forward, being relentless. But what's missing? The other half of the equation. It completely lacks the balancing, receptive yin energy of Kun, the power of yielding, of being open, of letting reality support you instead of always fighting it. You know, this path of pure, raw willpower, it's really designed for one thing: to test if you're truly ready to be sovereign, to be the ruler of your own life. But it has a built-in expiration date. Pushing harder isn't always the answer. Eventually, this path calls you to outgrow the need for sheer effort and to learn a completely different kind of intelligence. And that leaves us with one last kind of provocative thought to chew on. You've now learned the path of relentless action, the creative war. The real question is, are you ready to learn the next lesson? Are you ready to learn the profound power of receiving?